Hello, guys. Welcome back to episode 89 of the Girls Lounge podcast. And today we're really going to be putting our Formula One hats on because today we are going to be breaking down season 8 of Drive to Survive, which is in perfect timing because the Australian Grand Prix is happening tonight when we are filming this. And so we will have a lot of Formula One to talk about in today's episode. But like always, before we get into all of that, we will get into what we've been up to.
Yes, so what I've been up to is, if you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see I got new nails and I decided to follow our our fashion predictions from last week. So if you're listening, if you're an audio listener, it's basically like blue base and then I did like green stripes, and honestly, I really like them. It's definitely like way outside of my comfort zone, like a color combination that I definitely would never do before, but I really like them and I've gotten a lot of compliments on them. So I think it's a success on that. But the other thing I've been up to is just like honestly chilling, vibing, going with the flow of things. And all I know, you guys, is this past week I have lived like 100 different lives, which I know Kennedy has the same feelings as me because I feel like I've done so much, but yet not enough. But yet, like, this whole week feels like a whole month went by. But one thing that I just like a random thought for you guys is I went to the dentist and I have some like post dentist thoughts. My first one is the dental hygienist. I don't know if this is like with everybody, like let us know down below, you guys, but I swear, so I have like really sweet dental hygienist. It's a little old lady, she has like a little walker, like she's really sweet. But she loves to start a conversation with me when she has her hands in my teeth, like cleaning, scrubbing, doing her thing. And she's like asking me all this stuff. And I'm like, uh-huh. And then like I'll do like the little draining thing to like drain out the water. And that's when I'll respond. And then she just keeps on going. So it's just like, why are we having a conversation right now? Like now is not the time. And then that leads me to my next thing, which is my least favorite question to ever get asked in a like post-grad era of my life, of like, so what are you doing now? Like any like what are you doing now variation of that question. Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't. And like it's just, I'm like, I don't know you like that to like tell you what I'm doing, but like it's just, I can't wait till this point in my life is over and just done. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, the people that I obviously like don't know, because I swear it's always people that I don't know that are always asking me this. I'm like, I'm gonna come up with an ulterior persona. I don't know. I'm gonna be like doing some crazy stuff. I'm gonna tell them like, oh, like I'm about to move to I don't know where. I'm like currently traveling with yeah. I'm gonna tell them some crazy stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'll switch it up. Drop down below what you guys think I should tell them. What should my other persona be? Should I switch my name to? Like, what should I be doing in my next persona life? But those are just my like random thoughts for you guys.
No, that's so funny because I feel like I've been lucky so far. If they do ask me, I'm like, oh, I'm just in school. And like the conversation stops there. But it's actually funny because me and Liz, we have the exact same dentist. We go to the same place. But my dental hygienist, I have had older ladies in the past and they definitely do talk to you a lot. But my past couple dentist appointments, my hygienist has been this girl who's like around my age. So it's like she asked me stuff like before and after, but like when she's like cleaning my teeth and stuff, she doesn't really like ask me stuff. So it's like I feel like because she's younger, she gets the vibe. She understands.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to request her. Let me know her name so I can get her, because I swear it's always little old ladies and they're so nice. But I'm like, now's not the time, you guys.
I feel that. And then for my update, like Liz, I have felt like this has been the longest week ever. And it's funny because I was FaceTiming Kelsey and I was like, I wake up so early, yet feel like I still have so much to do by the end of the day. I'm like, is this adulting? And I feel like this is the first really week that I've ever really felt that. Like, honestly, every week I'm like, oh yeah, I accomplished a lot. I feel good. But this past week, I just feel like it has just been go, 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 like appointments, schoolwork. And then now this next little thing that I'll talk about in my life updates. But yeah, I feel like it's just been a lot in one week. And like Liz said, I'm like, it feels like it's been a month. And then one of these things that took up some time this past week and really rocked my whole week and just really had me shook is I had breakfast. I'm already stumbling. I had breakfast with friends, ... or so I thought. JK, we're not going to be like one of those drama podcasts, but let's just say, I think I still want to talk about the situation without, of course, obviously, like airing out all our business. But me and Liz, we've talked about we have like our friend group, our little friend group, us two, Liz and Kelsey, like those are our main ones. But there has also been like a bigger friend group we've also been a part of. And let's just say in the beginning of the year, we all thought it was that we were going to, make more effort because, that's real life stuff. And it turns out some people didn't want to be friends with us. I feel like that's good to say. We never said these people's names or anything like that or posted about them. So I think it's fine. But yeah, so that happened. And so I say that to take this as a sign. If you're in the same boat as us, because I know so many people around our age post grad, you might have those friends that you've had since high school, middle school, or even like low key college. I know people outgrow their college friends, but when you have that feeling, especially with it being the year of the horse and last year was year of the snake, if you are feeling like some relationships in your life need to change, this is your sign to reevaluate it and have those tough conversations and have you on have conversations. Don't just leave without saying anything because that's really rude. So, yeah, I don't know if Liz has any thoughts.
Yeah, honestly, follow your gut, you guys. Like, you know who your true ones are, who your real ones are. And at the end of the day, like, you shouldn't have to hold on to certain relationships in your life just because of time. So, yeah, that's part of adulting. And some people need to reevaluate that one a little bit.
Block it. And then my last thing, this makes me feel like such an adult. I'm dipping my toe into freelance, you guys. My friend Kelsey and I, well, honestly, it just so happened that I was included in this. It was originally like, I think Elizabeth brought up like, oh, I know someone to her dad. Elizabeth's parents own a restaurant downtown in our local city that we live in. And they were needing some marketing help. And then it was, Elizabeth brought up Kelsey, and then I was so graciously brought up in the conversation. I was like, "Bet, like I'm not gonna miss up this opportunity." And so Sunday we had a conversation last Sunday, and then today was our content shoot day, and it was actually so fun. This is my first time ever doing something like this. I have had an internship before, but that was mostly like I didn't have the most creative freedom because one, you have to stay within the university guidelines, and two, it's like a specific office, so it was like very specific work. But like with being a restaurant and being able to like come up with ideas and just record and like take photos and stuff and like have someone else to critique what's the word bounce off creatively. You guys, I've had a couple drinks. And I'm sobering up right now, so you guys bear with me. But to just have someone to bounce off of was really nice. It was like a really fun environment, and I'm really grateful that Elizabeth's parents trusted me and Kelsey. Well, we'll see if they like our final products, but I feel like shoot day went really well. And this is why I love marketing because we got free food and drinks out of it. And Elizabeth was there, and it was just a really fun day.
Yes, I love seeing like KT and Kelsey like in their element. And it was really funny because they pulled up and they had like lights and like their tripod and everything. And like yeah, like different type of tripods, like this long ones or like when they holding your hand. And it was just like the way that they were like focusing in and zooming in and getting the light and the angle and everything. And I was just like, I was behind the scenes, I was like wiping down the table, getting the crumbs out the way, like doing like the little things. But honestly, like I feel like that's the stuff that you don't see when you see like brand deals or like movies or like videos and everything, just like the behind the scenes of everything and just truly like how it all comes together. I can't wait to see the final product of everything that they do, but I'm so excited for them. Yeah, this is the first step in their careers, you guys. You guys are witnessing it right now.
That part, business number two. If you know, new business idea. But yeah, so that's what we did today, and I'm exhausted now. But I have to stay up for this Australian Grand Prix, which we'll get into later. But yeah, so that's all we've been up to.
And now we're gonna go ahead and get into our favorites of the week. So my favorite of the week is food related because, like, of course. But my favorite of the week is having cut up fruits and veggies in the fridge, you guys. Specifically like English cucumbers or mango. And then there's this, I know how you say it in Spanish. I think it's the same in English, but it's called jicama. And it's basically like, I don't even know, like a root, I think is technically what it is, but it's kind of like crunchy like a carrot. But any of those like kind of veggies like that you can have cut up. And then I personally I love putting like chamoy and like hot sauce and lime and salt and stuff. So just having all that cut up in your fridge and then being able to make like a little bowl out of it. It's like a healthy little like I call it my little chip, my healthy chips, you know, because it has like the crunch, but it's not like chips that are like not as healthy for you. So yeah, just having something like cut up in your fridge, specifically like veggies, I feel like is a quick snack. And I've been having it, I think, like almost every single day this week. I just go in the fridge, it's already cut up, and I can just grab it and make a little bowl. So if you're meal prepping and stuff, I do recommend that as a little snack.
No, because I was watching one of the Florida girlies TikToks and or not TikToks, YouTube videos because I've been catching up, and she had some like cut up apples. I'm like, ooh, that sounds so good right now. But my favorite of the week is let me look towards my notes. The Ole Henriksen Pout Preserve Peptide Lip Treatment, specifically the one in the orange too. So that's kind of like the clear one. I can't think of like the name of it at this moment, but that has just been my go-to lippy for like everyday use, especially when I'm in class and I'm like, ooh, my lips looking a little crusty. Put her on. I put her on today too. Like I just love her. She's just so good, so hydrating. So I highly recommend that for like an everyday lippy to make your lips look moisturizing. And I love it because it gives you a nice shine, but it's not like too thick or sticky either.
Bonus that like actually like the smell and the taste of it, it's a plus.
And so now we're going to get into Sports Corner. So we have a few changes coming to this segment. I mean, don't you guys worry. We are still going to be talking about Formula One on this podcast. It's just, with just our lives are probably going to be changing in the next couple of months, like where we're going to be at, what we're doing in our day to day. So it might not be as feasible for us to kind of like record two separate, times to get Sports Corner race recaps. We are going to be talking about races, but we may like be a little bit behind, or if it's like a double or triple header, we might just recap it all in one episode once that's over, little things like that. And we're not going to do F1 fantasy because that's just like a lot. But like I said, we will not stop talking about Formula One. Hence, this whole episode is really going to be about Drive to Survive. But yeah, so those are just like the little bit of changes to the segment. And like, one week we might not get to a race and that's fine. But we just want to be here for like, talk about Formula One when we feel like it and when we have like good things to say.
And with that, we're gonna go ahead and get into the good things we have to say, you guys. Like, this is the news. Charles and Alexandra are married, you guys. I and Kennedy, I feel like I can speak for the both of us, were shook. Absolutely shook when we saw this because obviously we all knew that they were engaged. We all saw the huge rock on her hand, her finger, but the fact that like they got married and everything and kept it under wraps, honestly, I'm so happy for them. And I know that it was just like the civil wedding, so it was just like family and everything. They are gonna have their big church wedding, which I'm like, if the civil wedding was this nice and yeah, if it was this fancy, I cannot imagine what the actual like church big wedding is gonna be. But I think it was honestly so cool how they were able to keep it all under wraps, especially just because like I feel like they are that couple that everybody's following them and that everybody's trying to figure out like what's going on with them, and the fact that they were able to drop that like the way that they did, I am so happy for them. And especially with it being the off season and everything and they still kept it under wraps. Yeah, they ate it up, you guys.
Yeah, and it's actually funny because I remember that morning I like saw like a post of them in the car, but I think like in my mind I just woke up, I was like, oh, like people just spotted them, or like I don't know. I didn't think anything of a wedding because like the post didn't say anything about like a wedding or anything. And then a couple hours later it's like, oh no, like they got married, and then both Alex and Charles like both post up, and I was like, oh my gosh, she looks gorgeous. And then later I saw that it was just a civil wedding, and like Liz said, like I can't even imagine like what their actual wedding's gonna be like. I think she said in her caption their wedding's gonna be next year, so I assume like once the season's over, obviously. But yeah, she just looks gorgeous. I loved how they included Leo and everything. Like that's their little baby. Like he just looks so cute, and I just love how like I don't know the vibe of like that old Ferrari car that they had. I'm like, that was perfect.
Absolutely love the little video that they did too, and just like the whole style of that post is so good in the little video. It just gives like the classy old like money vibes and everything, and they embody that to the T. So I'm so happy for them, and they honestly both of them, Charles always looks good and Alex does too, but Alex looked even more gorgeous than normal in that dress. So I am so happy, and I cannot wait for all the content that we're going to start getting about them, you know, like getting married. We're already starting to get little clips and everything now that the season is picking back up. So you guys, they are that couple.
I agree. And I love how her dress was like very like sequency. I feel like that's also another trend that we've been seeing, because I feel like for the longest, wedding dresses people have been going like simple, classy, like no designs or stuff on it. But I feel like now we're kind of seeing again people wanting more like bling bling all over their dresses, and she looked absolutely gorgeous. And I feel like it was the perfect like civil wedding dress.
And this is kind of random, but not. Earlier, me and Kennedy were talking about just like F1 couples and everything. And Kennedy brought up a great point about how there needs to be like, what if, like, if this is your F1, if this is your favorite F1 couple, like what that says about you. Because while like me and Kennedy, like we love all of the couples, you know, rightfully so, we came to the conclusion that Kennedy is a Charles and Alex kind of girl, you know, like she loves their style, the classiness and everything. And me personally, I am an Alex Albon, and I is it Lily
Yes.
Alex Albon and Lily kind of girl, because they recently, I was sending Kennedy a TikTok about Alex talking about their engagement and everything, and I was just like, I love them, like they are my favorite couple. And then Kennedy's is Charles and Alex. So it's just like funny, like the different vibes of all of these couples, you know, and just like I feel like that really speaks a lot about our personalities.
I agree. It just makes sense. But yeah, and when we're filming this, the Australian Grand Prix is happening. I mean, we're not going to talk too much about that. Maybe in next week's episode, we'll talk about it, if there's any like big, huge takeaways. But I'll just say in this moment, I'm excited for Mercedes and Ferrari. That's all I'm going to say.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and get into pop culture. And you guys, I guess that 2026 is the year of marriages, of weddings, of engagements, because rumor on the street is Zendaya and Tom Holland are already married, which honestly, like, I'm not even surprised. Like, you know, they are that like secret couple, and they're the private but not secret. They are the secret. I feel like they're not even, I guess they're private, but still. Yeah, rumor is that they're officially like already married, already settled down and everything. And I just want to know, when are we going to see the pictures?
That part, and I don't think we're ever going to see the pictures. They are so private, and it's like, I get it, because I'm like, these are the celebrities that really do care about their privacy, because you know, you hear those celebrities that be like privacy, yet they be everywhere, and like, you know, they like it. But like Zendaya and Tom Holland, like, girl, they don't want to be seen, so they aren't seen. Like, they really be caring about that stuff. But it seems like low key, like when the first like news dropped, well, Law Roach, which we all know is Zendaya's used to be her stylist when he was still styling. He was at the actor awards. And he was like asked about like the dress or whatever, and he was like, "Ha, well, you guys already missed it." So like a part of me, I'm like, is he just playing? Are they just trolling? Did him, Zendaya, and Tom, did they plan for this to happen because like they knew he would get asked about this? But then it makes sense for them to already be married, because I feel like they got engaged like what, 2024, low key. Yeah, 2024. So like it makes sense. It's 2026 that they would be married already. I know there was like this one picture that was going around, but I'm not sure that's a real picture or not. Because to me, it was giving like AI vibes, and because like I didn't see any like big news sources like TMZ or something post those photos. But yeah, so I don't know if they are married. So happy for them. And please post the pictures. We won't be weird. Just one picture or two about the day.
You know, even like a profile pic change or like a name change or something, that would be enough for me. That'd be all the confirmation I need. They really are that couple that like shows you how like you can be that level of famous and be completely private. So like the people that want to be like victims of the privacy stuff, I'm like Kennedy said, y'all like the attention.
Exactly. And I do know recently when Zendaya, more specifically Zendaya, has been out, they noticed that she has like a band on instead of like a big ring. So people have been like, oh, she's wearing a band. And I think Tom Holland has been spotted with a band too. So congratulations to them if they're already married. It seems like it is, but again, please just drop one picture. Just send it to us privately. We won't post it anywhere. We swear.
And then we're going to go ahead and get into our next pop culture news, which is, you guys, it is official. Harry Styles' album is out.
Yes, Mr. Harry Styles released a new album. I am currently on my second re-listen of it, about halfway, and you guys, it is a no-skip album for me. And it is, some of the songs are giving very much like Joe Curry's most recent album. Is it The Crux or just Crux? I don't know. But it gives like one or two of Harry's songs give me those vibes, and like another song gives me like Wallow vibes. So it is just so good. It's a very good, I would say very good like dancing album, but there is still like some depressing sad songs. And I know in another episode we did kind of like our thoughts on like what we think our favorite songs would be and what we think certain songs would sound like. And honestly, like I said, I love all of them. You already know American Girls, like, yes, all my friends, I'm in love with the American Girls. That's not how it goes, but that's how I'm making it, the remix. So good. Um, I guess we'll get into one of my other favorites later, but it was interesting because I was like, yes, it's gonna be a very upbeat album, but why are the saddest songs my favorite? What does that say about me? But yeah, they're just like, I truly don't know where to begin with talking about this album because I love every song.
No, because you guys prepare for this week and the next week and just all the weeks coming up for my song of the week to be a song from this album until I hit all of my favorites. I'm not gonna lie though, the first time I like listened to it, it kind of took me like my second listen to be like, oh my gosh, like absolutely, like yes, like I am 100% in this. The first listen I was like in it, but I was like, I need to listen to that song again, you know? And I love how every single song, like all the upbeat songs specifically, they all have like different sounds, which I feel like is hard to do like this day and age, especially when you're doing like kind of like a disco vibe album, you know, of like having different sounds, like the background sounds and everything, and not like sound too similar and everything. But he did it. Every single song sounds different, the sounds, and I absolutely love it. I think that they have like a really good balance of like lyrics and then just like music playing. And Harry did his thing, you guys. I don't know who ever doubted him. That wasn't me by any means. But yeah, he's a king and he ate it up, you guys.
I'm not even a self proclaimed Harry, and I know some Harrys were hating, and I'm not even a Harry, but before this album dropped, I knew it was gonna be good. So what's up with that? But yeah, I know there's some not controversy, but I know Elizabeth, cover your ears. I know there's been some controversy, or not controversy, wondering if Paint by Numbers is about Olivia Wilde. There's a specific line that it's something like, have you told the kids this, some, I'm not even 33 yet, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, is this about Olivia Wilde? And then I go on TikTok or Instagram and then I see other people are thinking the same things as me. I'm like, I am on a roll.
Who? I don't think I know that name. Anyways, the next Harry news, you guys, which we have three Harry newses, three Harry news things for you guys. Yeah, anyways, he dropped an interview with Zane Lowe and it is literally an hour long almost. I think it's like 50 something minutes, you guys. And I have personally not seen it yet because I think I need to be like mentally stable to listen to the interview. Just the little clips I've seen like here and there. I think I really need to just like, I was texting Kelsey and I was like, I feel like this interview is perfect for a rainy day where like, you know, it's just storming, it's depressing outside, and I can sit down in bed and then just watch this. Because I feel, at least from the little clips I've seen, like I said, I need to be like, okay. So I think I'm listening to the album a couple more times before I watch the interview. But all I know is, you guys, everybody who was hating on him during his break, and I'm not gonna lie, me too. I was like, when is he coming back? When is he coming back? I take back every single thing I've said about that because no, I'm so glad he took the time that he needed for himself. Like, truly am. Because I know, like, the one clip that stuck out to me that I've seen so far in the interview, he was talking about how like he was losing like his identity, like, you know, like differentiating his identity with music and like his identity as a person, you know, and how he needed that little break to like come to terms with like all that stuff. And I'm like, dang, yeah. So hence why, you guys, I need to be in the right mental state to listen to that interview.
Yes, I need to listen to that interview as well because no, honestly, no matter who, what artist it is, I always just love hearing the behind the scenes of just like their creative process and what their life has been like leading up to the album and the making of the album. But from that Zane Lowe interview, I've been getting more so little clips or quotes from when he talks about Liam in that interview, and I'm just like, wow, that is so true, especially the line about he was like, I feel like people own my grief in a way. And I just remember when when Liam died, it was like all of the boys' reactions, I feel like, were put under a microscope. And I feel like some people weren't happy with how Harry might have responded or put out publicly. But it's like Harry was saying, it's like, it's so weird. Like, you don't know how to act, especially when it's like a friend that you thought was so much like you. And it's just, and again, like he said, he had to really reevaluate like what is life. So it just made me feel like bad for him in a way, because like he's just going through all of this and like going through grief in the public eye. And like obviously One Direction was just such a big thing, and then just have all these other opinions about his grieving process and stuff like that. Yeah, it just really puts a lot of things in perspective.
And that's why I need a rainy day to listen to that interview. And then last little Harry news, you guys, which I think this is like the one where I was like the most surprised and shook about, is he's having a Netflix special, you guys. So basically he had a one night in Manchester like performance, and I guess Netflix recorded it all, and it's gonna go out Sunday before this episode goes out. And trust, I will be sad. I will be watching that a couple times. I started to get like a little bit of clips on TikTok of people saying like some of the songs he performed, and yeah, he did his thing. I am so excited. I don't even know like what to expect, you guys, but I will be sad for the Netflix special. And I'm like actually so shocked that he did that, because I feel like, I don't know, that wasn't a thing that I had on my bingo card for Harry.
And low key, I love how quick he is putting the special out with the release of the album, because I feel like that just adds more to the experience. Like I know with Eras Tour and Olivia Rodrigo's, like that came out like months after, and which I haven't watched the Era Tour stuff, but like her like concert recording, but I did watch Olivia Rodrigo's. But it's just like it was good experience. But I think like if that would have came out close to when that album dropped, which obviously like she didn't have a show or whatever, so like she couldn't do that. But I just think that whole experience of this dropping so soon after the album release like is gonna be so good.
No, Harry's PR, marketing, his whole team is working overtime, you guys, because it's not even been a week since this album has come out, and like all of this stuff is happening.
And next we have some exciting news for the book girlies, because Sarah J. Maas was on Call Her Daddy, and she came with some really exciting book announcements.
Yes, you guys. Me personally, also Kennedy, we haven't listened to the interview, and I won't be listening to it until I finish the Sarah J. Maas books, because there was one little question that Alex asked in the trailer where I was kind of like, I feel like that's a spoiler. So yeah, I'm not gonna listen to it until I finish the books. But basically, Sarah J. Maas finally announced that the next two books in the ACOTAR series are going to be coming out, which I finished ACOTAR like a couple months ago, but I know some people have been waiting a couple years for this. I want to say like 5 years or so for these next books. So I can't imagine waiting that long, because like where I'm at, I've been ready for the next books. So she announced her next two books, and I think that they're coming out like October and then early 2027, which is like really back-to-back dates and everything. But I don't know if those are going to be the last books in ACOTAR, or if it's just going to be like books 6 and 7, I think is what it is. But yeah, once I finish all of the Sarah J. Maas books, then I will sit down and listen to the interview, because I know some people are saying like these books have been out for a while, like these aren't spoilers. But I'm like, I don't know, I feel like a big plot point Loki is a spoiler to me in the regards to those books and everything. So yeah, I'm not going to risk anything until I finish the experience, and then I will sit down and listen to the interview.
Yes. If you're new here, I have not read the ACOTAR books, but I think originally on the podcast I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna start them over the winter." That ain't happened, but I am actually feeling ready to start the books. I think I told Elizabeth either the spring or the summertime. One of those. I just have a couple more books that I want to read off my physical TBR, and then I think I'll be ready for ACOTAR, which I'm like, low-key, this is like kind of perfect though, because I have the first book, and it's like by the time I finish all 5, it probably will only be a couple months when the new book comes out, and so it's just like, it's kind of perfect. So yeah, I'm excited. I haven't watched or seen any of like the podcast clips or anything. I think, okay, so here's my vibe. So originally, I was going to read Crescent City first, because it did not come to my attention I need to read ACOTAR before I need to read Crescent City until after I bought the first 2 books. Imagine my surprise. So I want to read ACOTAR and then Crescent City. So Grass. Oh my god, Throne of Grass. Yep, new title. Throne of Glass. I do want to read that series, but it's not like a top priority series, and I feel like that's a series for me. I don't really care about spoilers. So honestly, after I finish ACOTAR, I'll probably read or I'll probably listen to Caller Daddy episode with Sarah J. Maas. But yeah, so this with these announcements of the new books, that's really motivating me to like finally get into finally reading the ACOTAR books.
I'm not gonna lie, Kennedy. I think you should wait because I'm on Throne of Glass, and yeah, the little spoiler that was in the trailer, I feel like it's gonna not ruin, but it's gonna like remove some of the magic and the suspense of the series if you do it. Just because like the little spoiler I saw in the trailer was relevant to the last book. Like it hadn't happened in the last book where I was at. So I would say hold off, but I am gonna hold you to starting ACOTAR in the spring. I'm holding it to you here on the podcast. They heard it first.
Spring
summer. So by June, you guys, she will have started.
And now we're gonna get into what we've been watching. So I'll go because I don't know how I find the time to watch all this stuff, you guys. I don't know. Okay, so first I finished Traders. I mean, it was amazing. What could I say? Rob won, woo! As he should, because yeah, Mora girl, we're gonna need to talk to you about like seeing through these lying men and the reunion. I mean, it was low-key kind of iconic. I finished Unlock season 2, the Gel Experiment show. It's just so good. I think I started crying at the end. It's just like so sweet when you just see like the ones who got out of jail and just like wanting better for their lives. And it kind of made me sad because like this special like unit, like this jail is for people who are awaiting like just finishing out the rest of their sentence, or they're being moved to prison. So it's like one of them or a couple of the guys actually went to prison after they got released from the jail. But it just like made me sad because like I see like all the freedom and just kind of improvement that they made in the jail, and then it's like now they have to go to this prison where they probably won't get this much freedom for like 6 years. But I'm like hoping the experiment will show them that like like don't fall back in prison, like you have so much more to live for. But and like I don't know, it just really makes you think a lot about the prison system and how it should be set up, because it really was like they even had the not the stats or data because they didn't say numbers, but they're like, yeah, like we did have like lower numbers in this unit compared to the other units in the jail. So I do think programs like that are shown in this show are really beneficial. And yeah, I think it's good for the inmates and like good for like us people not in jail to see as well, to just kind of have like a new perspective on the jail system. And then I started Neighbors on HBO. This is one I've kind of seen stuff about. I think Timothy Chalamet's sister knows someone that was like involved with the show. Maybe she was kind of involved with the show as well, but I didn't really necessarily know what the show is about. But it's literally the best HBO Max show ever. They release new episodes every Friday, 9 p.m. And it's basically like real life neighbor drama. I don't know how they find these people. These are the kookiest people ever. And it's like petty stuff. Literally, one of the neighbor disputes was because the lady, like they live next door, but the lady has like 900,000 cats just all around her place, and like the guys next door is like, I hate this, and so they like went to court or whatever, and it's just so good. But it's just like they're just like, these people are so kooky, it's insane. And every episode are 2 different sets of neighbors, so it's like very quick pace. The editing of it is really funny, and it's just very raw and real, and it's like, yes, this is what we want to see on reality TV. Real freaking people who just like those people that are just so crazy that it's like, oh wow, people like this exist, and like they have no shame about it. Like that's the type of people on this show, and it's just so good. So now I have a new Friday show. I don't know how many episodes there's gonna be. So far it's 4 episodes that are out, and I will be set next Friday for this new episode.
And then the only thing I watched before we get into, of course, you guys, Love is Blind. I finally started season 4. Yeah, season 4 of Bridgerton, you guys. I'm only on episode 3, but I am absolutely eating up this season. I'm so glad that I waited to like see everything together. I don't know like how episode 4 ended because I'm not there yet, but I just know I would have been in agony, not agony, but I would have been going through it if I had to wait a couple weeks for then the final 4 episodes to drop. But dare I say, you guys, I think this season of Bridgerton is going to be my second favorite season, not counting Queen Charlotte because that one was so good, but I don't count it like in the ranking of just Bridgerton, you know. Obviously, Anthony season #1, but I feel like this season is going to be a #2 for me. I don't know. I'm really vibing with it. The story, the like the way it's being filmed and everything of like the flashbacks to the past and everything. I'm just really liking this season so far. But the other thing that I'm watching, of course, and Kennedy, it is time for our Love is Blind season 10, episode 12 deep dive, you guys, which is the last episode in season 10 before the reunion. So if you haven't watched season 10, don't skip ahead. It are down below in the show notes is the timestamps and everything because spoilers are incoming in 3, 2, 1. Spoilers, you guys. Wow. That episode 12, yeah, that was actually crazy. We're just gonna go couple by couple as always because all of these couples are insane. I'll let Kennedy tell us which couple we're starting with.
Yeah, that show deserves an Emmy for real. But first, we'll start with Mike and Emma. Because we know the last episode it ended with a cliffhanger. I was like, why would they do this? And I was very certain that Mike was gonna say no. But then, of course, leading up, you're like, wait, but what if he does say yes? But no, he said no. Thank freaking God. I was like, if he says yes, this is gonna end in a divorce. And it just makes no sense. And I feel like low key, from what I can remember, Emma was like kind of surprised about it. But it's like, girl, why are you surprised? He has said from the beginning, he even said on the altar, I need to hear you say that you want kids. And she couldn't even say that she wanted kids at the altar, which is like her right. But it's just like, I'm just so surprised you guys made it this far. And I know his mom was so happy. But I can't remember if they decided they're going to work on it or not. No, it's been a week. But I'm so glad he said no. Like that whole situation was a mess.
I think they were one of those couples that were like, so are they together? Are they not together? It was kind of like a mix of we don't really know. It wasn't 100% established. I think that they're not together, but I don't know. Yeah, you guys, I'm so glad he stood on business. Honestly, I was like Kennedy, I knew he was going to say no, but I was scared. I was scared for him if he said yes because I'm like, this girl doesn't want kids. Don't do this to yourself, you know? And like, if he did say yes, and like, that's on him. I feel like you guys don't misinterpret us and like thinking that like Emma is wrong for not wanting kids. Like, no, she is right to not want kids. Like, we respect that. It's for us is the fact that she was kind of like stringing along this man of like, well, maybe like I can see us having a family and like, but then being like, I'm not sure. You know, I don't know. Like, and her reasons are valid, but at the same time, like, there is genetic testing. Like, we've talked about this before and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like, I don't know if your reasons are that valid, especially if he truly wants kids, you know? But yeah, I'm so glad he stood on business because I was so scared that, you know, her not explicitly saying it was gonna suffice. And yeah, I'm so glad that he enough said, you know, he did his thing. And I know his mom was so happy. I know the Italian in her was just screaming for joy. And then the next couple we're gonna talk about is Devontae and Brittany, you guys. Oh my gosh. Yeah, wow. You know, when it panned to them on that couch, I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go. Obviously, I was happy. I was so happy because you guys know me and Kennedy do not like them as a couple, but I wanted to know who was it that called it off. And sure enough, it was Devontae who called it off. All I know, you guys, is that man, he said, I'll call you, and he never called her. I just know he never called her back up. And the fact that it hurts for me is Brittany is so delusional, you guys. And she is so gorgeous. She is so gorgeous. She has a life established for herself. She has natural beauty and everything. And I'm like, how are you so delusional to think that this man is in love with you? That's my part. Like, I really hope that she has come to terms with this man never loved her.
Y'all hear that sigh? That's how I felt when it switched to them two on the couch. I said, oh Lord, here we go again. And like his reasoning for it all was so annoying. He was like, oh, she bought a wedding dress before. Like that just showed to me that like she was gonna get married either way, whether it's me down the aisle or not. I'm like, no, you're just trying to use that as an excuse because you wasn't messing with her since the beginning. And it actually hurt my soul so bad when he was like, in his mind, girl, he knew once he left that house, he was never coming back. And poor Brittany was like, we're still together. We're just not gonna get married right now. Oh my God. Brittany girl, wake up. That man does not like you. I think he actually might hate you, and he's not interested. And like even like the recaps reminded me that like when she was talking about the affectionate stuff, he was like, "Well, now I feel like I'm forced to do it," and then like, no, that man, red flag, get him out of there. He was like, "Yeah, well, I'll be in touch." Yeah, Brittany girl, he was never gonna be your one. And I mean, we've all seen the stuff that's on TikTok circulating about him. So we'll see what comes out in this reunion. But he's disgusting, and Brittany, I hope by now she can watch this stuff back and realize that like that man was never it.
And then our next couple is Amber and Jordan. Is that his name?
Yes.
Okay, yes. You guys, honestly, I'm shook. I'm shook that they got married. Um I thought Jordan was gonna say no, and obviously Amber also thought that he was gonna say no, and it was more so like out of like not that he didn't love her, but that like he wasn't necessarily ready. I think he just needed more time, like more dating around. And that makes sense, like to have like a whole kid and everything. I think I said this last episode. I feel like the people with the kids shouldn't be on here because I feel like it's a lot to ask of a person to say yes to you in a couple weeks when you have a whole kid and everything. But that's another conversation. I truly was shook that he said yes. Did start to see a couple things about them, supposed like rumors and everything. So I am very, very intrigued for this reunion, especially because the rumors are saying that like they didn't even last a year; they lasted a couple months, and I am very shook about that. I didn't think they were gonna last forever, but like I am still very shocked. And yeah, I know the reunion is going to be very interesting just because of them two.
Yeah. And rumor on the street is that it was 3 months later that they got divorced. So not even 5 months, not even 6 months. But yeah, I thought he was gonna say no because he said something to his sister or something before he even walked down the aisle. I said, "Oh yeah, he's not gonna say no." So when he said yes, I was shook, and I just knew it was like, I don't know, I just feel like it was like a lot for him. I feel like he was realizing like a lot's gonna change. And people made good points on how like, yeah, this was never gonna work because how like he didn't want to be in Mount Vernon or whatever. Yet Emma, that's where she goes to school. Like you just can't have her in the city and stuff. Like you have to be able to compromise. And the fact that like he couldn't really think about compromise until like his sister ever brought it up is kind of like, yeah, you're not ready for this. And then the fact that he didn't meet Emma until the night before is kind of like crazy. And then I know people coming on with kids is like very controversial, but I like feel bad that like Emma like had to see all that, but then knowing that like her mom would be single, like I can't even imagine how that what would that would do to like a child's like psyche.
Exactly that, especially just because I feel like last season with I think his name was Jordan too. Yeah, it was Jordan.
I think
With
so,
his
yeah.
kid, we like never saw his kid or anything like that, but like seeing her like in the wedding, that kind of shook me honestly, like actually seeing clips of her. I didn't think we were going to see that, I thought it was going to be kind of like with Jordan last season where it was kind of like they talked about that they met and everything, but we obviously didn't see clips of the kid and all that. So that kind of like threw me off guard for when we started seeing her and everything. And especially if the rumors are true that they only lasted 3 months, I think it's going to be very interesting. And that's why I think that things probably didn't end on a good note between them. But like, who knows? Maybe they did, but my bets are on that they didn't end on a good note. And then our next couple is, of course, the two A's, Ashley and Alex, you guys. Wow. I was so shocked. And I started to see some people were kind of like coming for Ashley on the internet because if you didn't know, well, obviously Ashley said no. And honestly, like I feel like in the other clips they asked the female first if like do you say I do, but in this one they asked him first. So I don't know if that was like, I don't know, that was kind of like threw me off guard a little bit because she like kind of like intervened and was like, well, before you say no, I'm gonna say no to you. And honestly, the people that are coming for Ashley, I don't understand why they're coming for her because I've seen some people saying how like, oh, like if she knew she was gonna say no, like she shouldn't have said no on the altar, like but like no, he's the kind of guy who needed his ego to be brought down. He was like on level, I don't know, he thought he was like up here all high and mighty, and no, he needed to be brought down to reality. And I think Ashley like on that altar putting him in his place and like saying what she said, she spoke no lies. She said, yeah, period. Facts to every single thing that she said there. And the mom, Alex's mom, being like, she shouldn't have said that, like, about you. Like, she called you a liar. Like, I don't even, yeah. All I know is like mother, like son, because I feel like he kind of turned out the way he did just from the little bit of we've seen about the mom. I think that they got a lot of similarities. And I am so glad that Ashley ate that man up because he needed some humbling, you guys.
I don't get that argument about like, oh, Ashley shouldn't have like been up to the altar or whatever. That's the whole point of the show. That's the whole point of the altar. And it's if are they gonna say yes or no at the altar? And it's like Alex knew he was gonna say no. You could tell he was preparing to say no. He ain't get no type of grooming done. He was acting like his wedding was a game. Y'all, it pissed me off when he said it's game time, talking about a wedding. So wait, and then just like his dismissive attitude after like the ceremony was over, and his friends was like, "Are you gonna check up on her?" And he was like, "No." Like, ew, that is so rude. And I Ashley ate that. She ate him up for lunch and dinner and breakfast. And yeah, I mean, I have no notes. And I think it's very telling that the only thing he was upset about was his integrity being called out or questioned. I was like, yep, that's whatever, because he knows he has nothing else to stand on but that, but he don't even got that. And I was so weak at Ashley's dad like being so happy that she called him out. I said, yeah, me and her dad, the only time we'll agree on something is her eating up that man. So yeah, I think Ashley, well deserved. Also, I was shook she got a black friend. I was like, okay, period.
No, I was shook too about that. And I was texting Kennedy and I was like, if for some reason they say yes and they get married, all I know and that what makes me like sleep okay is that Ashley's dad is going to eat this man up in the divorce and he is going to like destroy him because yeah, obviously. And I'm so glad that she was the one who destroyed him instead of the dad. Like, yeah, that was just, I absolutely loved it. And I know some people were saying like, she only did it for the money, like, cause they get more money if they like make it to the altar. And if she did, okay, go her. Because the way that man shouldn't have even been on this show, the way he was like talking and everything, like he was in it for the wrong reasons too. Like Kennedy said, talking about that soccer game and every single analogy that he talked about with soccer, soccer, soccer. Like, why are we comparing soccer to the love of your life and your wedding? That says enough. And I cannot wait for the reunion because yeah, I hope all the girls are siding with her because yeah. Anyways.
And then our favorite, Vic and Christine. Is it Christine or Christina?
I think it's Christine.
Okay, Christine. They got engaged. Yeah, yeah. And like we knew, reality TV editing, they made it seem like there was going to be an issue when Christina was meeting Vic's mom or sister or whatever, but it was actually no drama at all. It was the nicest conversations ever, and I think the whole wedding, them meeting each other, everything was so beautiful, and they are just so meant to be. This is the proof that love exists, that love is blind, and that this process can work.
Exactly that. That is the only, like, the few couples that I've seen where I'm like, yeah, like they are the true like result of this experiment and everything, and I love them absolutely so much, and I never doubted them for a second, you guys. And yeah, that's why they are now probably the only couple that is like super happy and married together.
I agree. Yeah, next week we'll come to you guys with our reunion thoughts.
And now we're gonna go ahead and get into song of the week, you guys. And of course, the theme of this section is Harry Styles' new album.
And it might be Harry Styles for the next month or so, but my song is Taste Back by Harry Styles. And this is honestly a very surprising like favorite like song that spoke to me. Like when I was listening, I was like, wow, this song is really speaking to me. So I'll play a part. Hopefully it's good enough. Spotify don't got the lyrics yet. I'll play my favorite part for you guys. And you guys, the way people are editing Belly and Conrad to the song, yeah, you guys are sick, and you guys are my people.
No, the editing people are working overtime because I've seen Ilya and Shane edits, Belly and Conrad. Yeah, they're working overtime, you guys. And rightfully so. I hope that they're getting their money's worth. And my song of the week, I decided to go with I had two, you guys, a little more depressing song and a more upbeat song. So I'm going to go with the upbeat song, but trust you guys will be hearing the depressing song at some point. Maybe next next week. But I decided to do Are You Listening? And you guys, this song, honestly, I'm so shook. This was one of my favorites. I love the way Harry's voice sounds in this, the way he's just like, it kind of sounds like he's having a conversation or something. I really liked it. I'm gonna play you guys my favorite part, but my second favorite part is the like chorus part where it's just like the, I don't know, you if you know, you know, but this is my favorite part of it, you guys, which is the beginning. Life is on the brink. Your therapist well fed. I don't know, something away about the way his voice sounds in that, and he's just like talking, singing. I really, really love that song.
Mr. Harry Styles, we literally owe you everything. I'll give you my house for concert tickets. JK, I would never. Okay, but now on to our topic: Drive to Survive, season 8. When I tell you guys, so much better than season 7. Not gonna lie, guys, I was like, wait, am I gonna be one of those Formula One fans that became a fan because of Drive to Survive, but now that I watch the races, I won't like it anymore? No, it's because season 7 actually was that bad. It was so confusing. And I think why it was confusing is because it wasn't told in order of the team. I don't even know what order season 7 was told in, but season 8 was, for the most part, it was told like by each team, or not each team, whatever teams participated in this show this season. We kind of saw like their season. And yeah, it was so much easier to follow. And I kind of liked how there's one episode called like the duel or something, and they showed Mercedes and Ferrari, I think it was, like those two teams in one episode. But yeah, I just really like the whole layout of the season. But that's just my overall thoughts. But me and Liz did take notes while watching, so we'll just go through our notes with you guys.
Yes, and before I go into like our individual notes, overall too, like Kenny said, I thought it was so easy to the way it flowed. I really liked the whole, like Kenny said, I'm just repeating what Kenny said, you guys, but the setup of the focusing on the different teams, and then also like within each team, they focused on like some of the same races, so you were able to see like the way the race, like everything that happened and how it affected like different teams in different ways. And then after we got into those teams, it was like more of like the focus, like the final stretch, like the more of the competing and everything. I thought it was really easy to follow as someone who like I do keep up, but I don't like watch the races like that, you know, but it was really easy to keep up and follow the order of everything and how like everything impacted everything and had like a domino effect in some kind of way.
Yes, and I know, just one more thing, I know some people were like, I just see some complaints about how people thought like maybe they should have shown more of this and this, but I don't know. As someone who did like watch all the races and stuff, I thought that was honestly a perfect recap. But my first note comes from like episode 1, and this is more so just about like the F175 live event. 1, Lando and Oscar, they are the two kids you can't put together in class because they be making jokes. They were so funny when like Charles said some type of word and they just bounce off each other so quick. Oscar was like, how does he know that? Or no, Lando was like, that's a big word, someone told him to do that, or something like that. And like him and Oscar were just being messy backstage, and it was so funny.
Yes, I love seeing that too, because I feel like a lot of like the highlight of this season was like the rivalry between both of them. But like at the end of the day, like they're partners, they're best friends and everything. Like they spend so much time together, you guys. Like they're going to have the same humor. So I really like seeing that little scene and everything. And then my first point is also from like that little showcase that they did with the cars, and it was Christian Horner getting booed. I thought that was like that was embarrassing. That was so embarrassing for him. I felt bad for Max and Liam Lawson when they walked out, because I think they also got kind of booed a little bit. But just because it's like at the end of the day, like they're the drivers, like I feel like they shouldn't get booed, you know. But Christian Horner getting booed was actually insane to me. Well, not insane, it was embarrassing. It was truly embarrassing, because I feel like also just the way he went about it, because at least from what we saw of the other teams, the team like principal came out with the drivers, but I don't know why he thought he should come out alone and then the drivers. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know why he thought he was that guy, because clearly he was not, and people reacted rightfully so. That was, yeah, embarrassing, I will say again.
No, because 1, I actually watched the live stream of it, not live, but like afterwards, and like at least over the live feed, you cannot pick up the boos. Like I don't remember that. Like I remember hearing people say like, oh, there are boos, but like I didn't think it was that bad until I watched After Survival. I was like, that's so embarrassing. And Toto was so funny. He said like Christian walked out thinking he was gonna rock the room, but the room rocked him. I said, ooh, clock it. Yeah, and then just like the beginning of the season, one is I forgot how brutal Australia was for not only McLaren, but like the rookies and just everyone because of how rainy and stuff it was. And then I feel like this was also kind of coincided with what was happening with Alpine and Jack Doohan. I'm like, Jack Doohan, you deserve better. I'm so glad he's out of Alpine. Like, that is literally like the worst team culture ever. I hate Flavio. He was the worst ever. Y'all, when we got our attitude with Franco, I said, that's what we're not going to do. You are not going to be mean to Franco.
No, me and Kennedy are literally twins. My next little point is Jack Doohan death threats. That is actually beyond me because at the end of the day, like these are guys that are just they're doing what they love to do, which is drive. They're literally driving a car, you guys. But for him to receive death threats, that is actually beyond insane to me. I didn't realize like how crazy some people get with this. Like I thought it was just like a fun little sport, you know? Like, I didn't realize people would send death threats about it. And that is actually crazy, especially like after Australia. Like, that was the first race, you guys, the first race. And we're reacting in this way when everybody performed badly. Like, even the like the people that are well seasoned drivers, they were all performing badly. Like, Australia, nobody did what they wanted to do and what they expected to do. For people to send death threats to a rookie, that was actually insane.
Yeah, it was so sad. And it's just like, you guys, it was not that serious. They are driving cars around a track. Why are you sending death threats? And I feel like it doesn't make it any better that like a lot of people wanted Franco in that seat as well. So I know a lot of like fans of his were probably like sending stuff as well. It was just a very bad situation. And I know Jack Doohan, I think he's a reserve driver for Haas now. So that's good. But I'm just like, geez, like I felt so bad because I did not realize at the time how bad it was for him. And like he just wasn't given like a proper chance, I would say, in my opinion. While I do love Franco and I'm glad Franco's in that seat, I just hope Franco doesn't get that same like I hope they don't make him feel discarded in any way. Because I truly think to create a good culture for a driver to perform well, it's so many different moving parts. And I feel like it was very interesting how they showed the difference between Alpine's style versus Stake Sauber, now Audi, with their team principal, Jonathan Wheatley, and how he's like the tough, or not the tough, the like nice guy and how well they're performing. And I feel like, like I'm glad like it kind of showed that like that type of culture works versus the culture that Flavio is kind of brewing. And I'm like, Pierre Gasly, why do you like that he's blunt like that? I'm like, that's not even blunt. That's actually being mean. I'm like, this is like Flavio, he's from like an older era. And I'm like, that attitude might have worked back then, but like, this is a new era. Things are changing. I mean, everything is different since the last time he's really been around F1. So I feel like he really needs to like change his ways. And I'm tired of seeing him on my screen.
Flavio's biggest hater, you guys. I am so scared for the people that are currently on his team. That man needs to be like booted out. He's the one, you know, this upcoming season, I hope he's the one who gets booed by people and not Christian Horner. Yeah, he needs to get more of that. He needs to be humbled. Just like the way he automatically after Australia was like, yeah, you're done. You're out of here. And then I thought it was crazy, like once he gets Franco doesn't perform amazing on his first race, and he's like basically like saying like, I don't know if we made the right decision with you. Like he's barely like raced one race. He's getting used to your car and everything. Like as we saw Lewis Hamilton, he was struggling getting used to the Ferrari cars. So like for him to just like, I don't know, like not, I feel like he doesn't value his drivers, you know. And I really, like Kennedy said, I really liked how we saw the comparisons and how we saw that like it's so much more goes into like the outcomes of these races than just like the driver in the car. Like it's the team culture, how they're talked to, how they're treated, how they're respected. And I think personally, I think Flavio has no respect for his drivers. I don't know how Pierre Gasly be on that team for many years working with him. He might be like a really great person, Flavio, like getting results and everything, but even then I don't even think he's getting crazy results. So yeah, he needs to be gone.
Yes. And then my next note was just F1 is so messy. And this is like a quick thing where I just noticed this is like not even just the season, but just, I don't know. F1, the way it's set up when they do like their post interviews, and it's like they're just so close to each other when they are talking. I forgot what was exactly shown in this scene. I think it was like Lando and Oscar. I think one of them might have had a better race than the other, and they were just so close to each other. I mean, like, this is my water bottle, pretend this is like Lando, and then like I'm Oscar. And they're being asked about each other, and like the only thing is like their backs are across from each other. And then there's another clip they showed of them in a post race, because you know they go to like the media pit and then they go to the room, like the couch and the reporters. So it was like that, and they kind of asked like Lando or something a question because I don't think he was doing well, but Oscar was. I'm like, ooh. I'm like, like that is just like so messy, and I'm like, this is why I love this sport. And then my next note was now they got me feeling bad for Liam. Like, oh my gosh, like they really just like discarded him again, and I felt bad because, like, again, this is like their childhood. Even though Liam might not be my favorite driver, I don't wish the worst on him. And I just, again, I don't think he was given the right, not the right choice. I don't think he was given the right amount of time. And I mean, we know it's a bigger issue. Like, it's a second car issue in the sense of the actual car, not necessarily the driver. And I mean, Yuki ended up not being that much better, anyways. But I don't know. I mean, I think Liam is now thriving at racing bulls, but still, I know. I guess it all worked out in the end because it seems like Isaac Hajar is doing really well. But I don't know. I just felt really bad for Liam and how that played out.
Yeah, like Kenny said, Liam isn't my favorite, but I was feeling very bad for him. I'm glad Christian went away. I know Liam went out and was celebrating that night. Honestly, like the one scene, I think like Liam performed better than Yuki or whatever. I was like, honestly, okay, go Liam. I was like, go Liam, do your thing, show him in his face. This is what you guys passed up on. And yeah, I was feeling really bad for him. And I'm so glad that they got rid of Christian Horner, because at the end of the day, once he was gone, they started doing really well as a team. But my next little thought was Nico's win, you guys. I was so happy that they showed this, and just like the build up to it, everything about it. I was so happy that they showed it. I was a little scared they were like gonna cut it or something, because like Nico isn't necessarily like a really a huge like name in this past season, I feel like. But no, like just like the fact that he got his first podium, just like the excitement about it. And I think it shows you like these are drivers, and like this is their dream, like to be able to get a podium, and for him to like get that and see the emotion behind it and the work behind it and just the tears. Yeah, I love that scene so much.
Girl, I was tearing up so bad, and I'm just like, this is what this sport is all about. For those like underdog teams you wouldn't think that are towards the back of the field, who is just like, not only have the drivers put in so much work, but their engineers, their pit crew, all that. So for all of them to just like celebrate and just like have fun over a podium is amazing. And my favorite part is when they're doing their last lap, they've crossed the finish line, and then like their engineers and mechanics are all up on like the gate or whatever, and they're like through the holes of it, like cheering. It was like so sweet. It gives me chills to think about it.
And my next little thought is, I know I just said, you guys, I'm so glad that they got rid of Christian Horner, but why did they kind of have me feeling bad for him? I'm not gonna lie, they low-key had me feeling for him. Just I feel like the way it was, like, I think it was the scene where I kind of felt bad for him was like he didn't even get to like really say goodbye or anything. It was just kind of like affected immediately, like, get out of here. I was like, oh. And then like the edit, like the montage thing of like him like when he was younger, and like just basically like everything that he's done for Red Bull, and like he was Red Bull kind of, they kind of they had me feeling for him. They had me feeling for him. While I think that like it was the right choice to make, maybe like letting him say goodbye or something, I don't know. I felt bad. I'm sure he was able to like text them or something, and then like the text between him and Toto and everything. Yeah, I was feeling bad for him.
Yeah, I agree with Elizabeth. Even though Christian Horner is not my favorite person, I do think it was like really sad. And it's like you may have your opinions on him, but like you do have to like give him his flowers. He has brought Red Bull up in the successful, dominant era for the past couple of years, and yes, they've been in a rough patch, but like you cannot just like ignore the impact he has had on this organization. And it sucks that they just kind of like discarded him. But I guess that's his karma, I guess. But yeah, it was really sad. But I mean, I think he got a really good payout, so he can't be too sad about it. So, yeah, but and then for him to be watching the races at home, I was like, oh wait. But I think low key, I've been seeing some rumblings about him being involved in another Formula One team. So I don't know how bad I'm gonna feel for him, but yeah, during that montage, I was like, wait, like this is actually kind of sad.
And my next little thought was, this is kind of like multiple thoughts all in one, but Mercedes basically. First, I had thoughts on Kimmy's pressure, like the pressure on him. Oh, you guys, the way you guys know I love Kimmy, but the way that like they were showing the pressure and everything, I think they did a good job of like highlighting he's a young driver, so it's pressure from that. He's taking like Lewis Hamilton's seat, like his car. There's pressure from that, pressure like to perform for Mercedes and everything, like pressure from like all different spheres and everything, and just seeing that like all on him. I was like, I was obviously feeling for him, you guys. Like, if I was feeling bad for Christian Horner, I was of course going to feel bad for Kimmy. But I just think that really shows you like all of the pressure that is put on these rookies. And then at the same time, my next thought was Kimmy and George. I absolutely love them. I love that Kimmy, like, while he has all this pressure, he has George. Like, I think that that is the perfect balance of someone that he can like look up to and who can like help alleviate that and take away some of that pressure. So I really like getting to see Kimmy and George like work together, and like he truly is like Kimmy, not Kimmy, but George is the mom to Kimmy, and I love that little duo, and I like that they got to highlight that within the couple episodes that we saw.
I agree. The main takeaway from like Mercedes episodes, I'm like, wow, I forget how young Kimmy is. Like when they showed like the first Mercedes episode, when they showed him getting picked up from high school, I was like, oh my gosh, I forget how young he is. And I just can't imagine being under that amount of pressure. And then when he was crying, like I remember that race. But like I feel like it was like rumors that he was crying. And then the reporter was like, is he ill or something? I was like, no, he's not ill. He's just under a lot of pressure. Like people just have stuff to say. And also, this is a funny thought. When they were showing like the tweets and the TikToks, I'm like, oh, are me and Elizabeth gonna pop up?
Could you imagine?
I would be sick.
And then I have like a couple notes on Miami. You guys, first, was that a Timothy Chalamet cameo? I had to like replay it, and I was like, wait, is that Timmy? So we'll let Kennedy confirm.
Yes, it was in fact my man Timothy, our man Timothy. You guys already know. I had to rewind that too. I was like, wait a minute. Is that who I think it was? And in fact, it was.
All I know is I'm glad it was just him and not no other rats with him. And then my other little Miami thing is I love how they showed the Lego like clips and everything, and like seeing the drivers and their excitement and everything, because obviously the Lego cars and like the Lego parade was a huge thing of the 2025 season, and for them to like show it, I thought that was just like full circle moment. And seeing like the drivers and how like when they were crashing, I really like how we saw like a lot of the Legos and not just like, oh, it's like Legos.
I agree. It was really funny. And I think it was funny when Charles was like, it was our best race this whole season. I was like, LOL.
Yeah, I laughed out loud for that one too. And then my next thoughts, and Kennedy also has thoughts for this one, is the Williams episode. You guys, my heart for Carlos, and I put in my notes pain in all caps, because when he said like the little like montage it did, and he was like, I'll miss the podiums quote, I was like, stop, absolutely stop. When he said that, I was like, Carlos, no, don't lose hope. Yeah, I was just like, I was really feeling for him, because I really love Carlos, you guys, and I love him in red, but something about him in blue now. And then I loved how like the Williams episode and like the Miami stuff that we saw, I thought it was just funny. Carlos and Fernando, they were like gossiping in Spanish after the race. I thought that was just like funny, and I was like, that is so iconic.
Yes, them gossiping in Spanish. I'm like, I love that because they know good and well that most likely people around them probably wouldn't understand them. I'm like, that's so funny. But I love the Williams episode because it was so eye-opening, which also I love the creative choice they took of including what Carlos said about missing podiums, because then we also know that he's going to end up getting a podium later in that season. And it's like crazy because I feel like as someone who's like kind of rooting for Williams because I love the drivers and like their whole, thing and being the underdogs and like slowly but surely coming up the field. As someone who's like into like, the underdog of it all, I like remember like their like really good highlights of the season. So like going back and seeing like, oh yeah, they did kind of have some struggle bus. I was like, ooh. But yeah, again, just it was very eye opening on like everything that's going back and forth because like while they have made lots of improvements, they obviously have some room to grow. But I realized actually this might not be a hot take, but this is my hot take from the Williams episode is that I still think it was the right move for Carlos to move to Williams because honestly Ferrari was not doing so hot. Like I think it was more so after his comment about I missed the podiums because girl, Ferrari wasn't in too many podiums this season. But yeah, I think it was still a good move for him. And like honestly, I think this will assure him honestly more security in a seat because he's part of a project. But yeah, I think still even after these William episodes, I think it's still the right move for Carlos to choose Williams.
I agree, and especially just because I really liked how they took, like Kenny said, like the creativeness of showing like when they were really down deep, like they were literally like ninth in the teams and everything, and then to them finishing, I think they finished like five overall, and all the team, the driver, like the team standings and everything. But just seeing that, how like in a season, in one season, like they did all of that growth and improvement, and they really like listened to the drivers. I really think so, and like they changed their strategy up, or like they changed stuff with the cars and everything. So I really think that it shows like it was a good move for Carlos to make, because I think in Ferrari they were starting to get to a point, a standstill of like things weren't changing and everything, like the same issues were happening over and over and over again, you know. And just for him to see that in one season all that happened, and like it really shows you like the eye opening of like what is to come in this team and everything. And I love Carlos and Alex, and yeah, I'm so glad they're together, part of this project, like Kennedy said. And I'm very excited for 2026 season for them.
Yes, same.
And then this is like a couple notes together, but the whole like then when we started getting I forgot what episode it was. I think it was after the Williams episode, when we kind of got like a Mercedes versus Ferrari episode. I was feeling so bad for Kimmy, you guys. He like said like something, I think I quoted it. He said like, I feel very ashamed of my performance. My heart broke for him, you guys. It absolutely broke into a million pieces, because in this episode we really saw like kind of like Kimmy versus Lewis, like not only like within Mercedes of that like inner feeling, but like them also like racing against each other and everything. And yeah, that quote, my heart broke for Kimmy.
I think after that episode is when I texted Elizabeth that my toxic trait is after watching um Drive to Survive. I'm like, I just want everyone to win. Everyone rotate winning every week. Like, I cannot take it. Like, what do you mean? Kimmy was feeling the same ashamed. He was like the hardest part after like stuff like that is like when you have to like walk back. Like you don't want to face anyone in the garage. I was like, Kimmy, no. Kimmy, I'm like, get behind me, Kimmy. No one is going to talk back to you. They're gonna have to get through me first. Like, you guys cannot talk to Kimmy me. Like, you guys actually can't.
Like, he's only just a little boy, you guys. Like, please. And then I have this random thought in my notes. I don't know what exactly it was, but I put, y'all, I'm scared for my man's Franco over with Flavio, and I am scared for my man's Franco over with Flavio, you guys. Anyways, then the last two episodes, I absolutely loved the Vegas episode. I thought the build up with the Vegas episode was so good, of how like if you are truly like going in blind watching this, you would have been like thrown for a loop about the whole like the two teams and the McLaren, not the two teams, the two drivers for McLaren, Oscar and Lando got disqualified. And I feel like it really showed like real time, like everybody was thrown for a loop, like everybody was in shock that this happened. And then the way that they filmed that episode, of like if you're watching this blind, you would have been shocked too. I really loved the build up and the suspense of it. They did their thing with Vegas. It was such a good episode.
Yes, and I loved all the McLaren scenes. I know some people are like, oh, they should have shown more of Lando and the whole papaya duel. But honestly, I feel like what they showed was a perfect amount because I feel like, honestly, McLaren like dominated a lot at some point. So like that would be kind of repetitive to show. So I don't know. I feel like the amount they showed about papaya rules, kind of like the challenges that comes with that and all that stuff it was like the perfect amount. I thought it did a good job of showing it. And yeah, the Vegas stuff, like I low-key forgot how crazy that was. Yeah. So glad for that race to be over with.
I agree with Kennedy. I think that we got a like pretty good balance of the Oscar and Lando, like the drama, the competition, everything, of how they really showed it just like in that one race, like a couple race scenes or whatever. But I'm glad that we didn't like highlight it too much, because I feel like while yes, it was like a big thing of the season, it wasn't like at the end of the day, they were still on the same team. Like they were competing against each other, but then they were also still competing for the same team. And I feel like people kind of forgot that or overshadowed that with the competition between them. But I think the show did a good job. And I think if the show would have focused more on it, people would have been hating on it in the sense of like, you guys that put it them like their enemies and everything. And I think that would have been worse to do. So I think they played it the safe route, and I'm glad that they did that.
I agree. And then my last note was the last episode, dot, 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 tears. You guys, I cried lifetime when watching Lando win, and I cried again rewatching him win. And just again, it's the flashbacks that get me, bro, of him when he was little. Like you're actually saying like they are all just little boys living their dream. It was so sweet, and just like I don't know, and just like even when they showed like some early clips from him, like early from Drive to Survive, when he joined McLaren, I'm like, oh, he looks so little. Like, oh, like it's just so sweet. Very happy. You guys know Lando is one of my favorite drivers, which I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, but it was just so sweet. And it's just like, I don't want to say this in a mean way, but this is probably the only time Lando will maybe get a world championship, like a driver championship, or like have it come so easily. So I don't know. It's just like, I know it took a lot of pressure off of him to get this one driver championship, and I know it meant a lot to him. It meant a lot to McLaren. And I don't know, I was just very happy for him, and it was very sweet.
My last note was literally the quote that he said, "You've made a little boy's dream come true." Oh my gosh, you guys, I lost it. Like Kenny said, the montage, one thing's gonna do it for me, it's the montage. Like, if a montage had me feeling bad for Christian Horner, of course I was gonna be crying for Lando here. Just seeing, like, even like him, like, little, and just like seeing him now. And then also, the way we gotta like hear his voice, like, clearly, like, his voice was cracking, he was crying, like he went to like kind of like lift up his little helmet, I think, but then he put it down, because I just know like he was crying and everything. I absolutely loved it. I think it all came together full circle. I like how they also showed how like it wasn't that Lando necessarily needed to win, but he just needed to get on the podium, and how like it wasn't like he needed to beat Oscar, or like that, because I feel like they didn't play into like that kind of dynamic of the competition and everything. But I just love the way it all came together, and just the clip of, like I said, him crying, that did it for me, you guys. Yeah, this season overall, I thought it was a 10 out of 10. I really liked it. There wasn't anything that I like particularly was like, they should have changed this. Why did they do that? I think they did their thing. And then with the ending, yeah, even better.
I agree. No notes from me. And I, in fact, was crying throughout what's it called? The credits. Him singing Sweet Caroline in the credits. I said, y'all are sick. Just to see him just so happy. I was like, this is what dreams are made out of.
And without further ado, you guys, that is the end of our Drive to Survive Season 8 recap. Thank you guys so much for listening if you made it this far. I know this is a bit of a longer episode than our usual cup of tea, but you guys already know when we're talking about shows, we just keep on going and going, and we could do it forever. So you guys be grateful that we are ending it now. Make sure you guys are following us on all of our socials, which are all linked down below as always. Comment down below
Who you're rooting for in the 2026 season.
That's a good one. So comment it down below on whatever platform you're listening to, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.